Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday, our Tech Tuesday. And I'm starting a new subject this week because we already a third of the way through May, which is quite, or a quarter of the way through May, which is quite scary. But in my rounds just recently, I've heard quite a few people talk about how they're suffering from depression and anxiety and all sorts of funny things like that. And it made me think, and doing research, it came up with the fact that what we eat often affects how we feel. Have you ever heard that term, hangry? It's when you are hungry and angry. And as soon as you've had something to eat, a snack, a piece of chocolate or whatever, just something to bring the blood sugar levels down and calm the system, and suddenly you feel calm and relaxed and you can handle things again. Whereas before, if you're hungry and tired and just overwhelmed, you want to kill somebody until you're ready to eat them. And then once you've eaten them a little bit, then you're okay again. So what we eat, when we eat, how we eat definitely affects our moods, because as has been said on more than one occasion, our gut is likened to the brain. And some people even go as far as to say that the gut is your second brain. And I'll get into that as I go through all of this talk. Now, the resources that I've used tonight are all readily available because I've taken them from our very own Near Life blogs. If you don't know where those are, let me know. I'll send you the links, but you'll see the links in my slides as well. So let me share my screen over here and lose all the other bits that I don't need. Okay, so my title is Mood and Food. How does what you eat, or sometimes more importantly, not eat, affect your mood? It's sometimes a bit difficult to put the two things together. We start off by saying you are what you eat. And we've heard this before, and there's various different connotations towards this. But bottom line, food fuels our physical bodies by providing the nutrients and energy necessary to properly function. But it can also affect us mentally and emotionally. Comfort food, which varies from person to person, but is a near universal concept, can evoke pleasant feelings and memories, especially when we're feeling down. Let your imagination run right now. What do you think of when you smell fresh bread? How does that change your thought patterns? What do you think of if you smell cinnamon, for instance? Or anything along those lines? Those smells can trigger emotions, hunger, satiety, all sorts of different things. And some people I know, when they're stressed, they eat. And they don't really take note of what they eat. They just eat. And unfortunately, most times it's the stuff that they're eating is junk food and very high in sugar and trans fats and all those fun things. It's not too often that people will eat something nutritious as a snack when they're stressed, because it's just not how we're made. But that's what they call comfort food. If you're feeling sad and depressed, you eat. If you're feeling stressed, you eat. If you're feeling tired, sometimes you eat too. And I know when I travel to Bloemfontein, for instance, I eat pretty much the whole way, but I'm snacking on things like raw nuts and biltong and rooibos and that sort of thing. And that's what keeps me calm, relaxed, and focused while traveling. Now, other people will rather binge on other things. So beyond the psychological effects of food, nutrients in the diet can play roles in impacting our mood through a variety of mechanisms. So your gut and your digestive system is actually quite a complex little thing. In an added complexity, our brains and feelings can be influenced by trillions of microbes living in our digestive tracts, collectively known as the gut microbiome. And I don't know who measured it, but somebody said that if you take all the bacteria in your stomach and packed it together and put it on a scale, it would weigh in the region of about 3 kilograms, which is quite a significant amount. And something else to ponder on is that they tell me that you have more bacteria in your gut than we do cells in our entire body. How's that something to think about? Though our moods and feelings are highly dependent on the external things we are experiencing, these intricate systems can also be affected from within. So how does nutrition impact on our mood? Our favorite treats can inspire an instant happiness boost through psychological means. Ever heard of a sugar rush? Our overall diet plays a role in influencing mood and mental state via physiological methods. Studies investigating the relationship between diet and mental state have found promising connections. And there's been quite a few research tests done. There was one done on juvenile delinquents where they simply changed the diet of these kids who were completely overboard and committing crimes and just generally being destructive and going crazy. And they changed their diets, put them on healthy, good, balanced diets, and more than 70% of them changed personality almost completely. They were kind, loving, gentle, calm children again, whereas before they were absolute menaces. And I know they've done similar studies with prisoners. And these are the sort of like the long-term, I call them heavy-duty prisoners, you know, the guys, mass murder, that kind of thing. And by changing their diet, they changed their whole personality into normal human beings again. So your diet can affect to the extreme in some cases. The Mediterranean diet has long been hailed one of the best diets, and for good reason. Right. The Mediterranean diet has been linked to a broad range of health benefits, like lowering the risk of cardiovascular disease, supporting a healthy body weight, and healthy cognitive aging. And I'm going to put an aside in over here by saying that the Mediterranean diet isn't just what they eat in the Mediterranean area, which is Greece and those little islands up there, but it's also their lifestyle. They don't have huge traffic jams and things like that. Life is very slow and relaxed. In the afternoon, directly, I think it's around about midday, like in other parts of the world, they have a siesta. And it's accepted that you go and lie down and sleep for an hour or so. That way, they're not stressed. Life works at a very slow pace. And if you look in rural Africa, you'll often see people walking at a much slower rate. I get very tense when I'm walking behind people. Ever heard of road rage in a shopping mall? Well, I think I have that at times. And maybe it's because of what I'm eating or not eating that causes that, because I'm always in a rush. I'm always moving. And I've always been told that when you're moving, move like you've got a purpose. Don't just dawdle along and smell the roses and smell the coffee. But maybe that is actually the better option. Because if you are relaxed, you're calm, you're moving at a fair pace, but not overly rushed, you don't stress your system, and you will be more relaxed. And this is what the Mediterranean diet and Mediterranean lifestyle is. They wake up when the sun gets up. They eat good food. that's good for their body, good for their cardiovascular systems and their brains. At midday, they go and rest and relax for an hour or so, and then get back up and running again. And when the sun goes down, they go to sleep. So they're getting adequate sleep, lots of fresh air, lots of exercise, because there's not a lot of cars around there in certain of those island areas. They travel around by donkey or they walk. A much more calm and relaxed state of life, and therefore less risky health-wise. But the diet also emphasizes a variety of vegetables and fruit, whole grains, healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, and fatty fish, and moderate amounts of lean protein and dairy, and minimal refined sugar and saturated fats. And what do we see in our Western diet, they call it the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet? Do you see a lot of whole grains, healthy fats, fish? In fact, how much of these things do you see anyway? They say the standard vegetable that Americans eat are potatoes, and that's in the form of French fries, boiled or fried in very unhealthy fat. They just don't eat correctly. And sad to say, it's not just the Americans that do that. The British have a similar sort of thing, and even South Africans. So some key points to keep in mind. A diet rich in vegetables and fruits, like the Mediterranean diet, has a wide range of health benefits, including being associated with higher levels of happiness and mental health. Our gut and brain communicate with each other in a connection called the gut-brain axis. The gut microbiome can impact this bidirectional communication in a positive or negative way, depending on the type of products the microbiome composition produces. A well-balanced diet plays a key role in cultivating and maintaining a healthy gut microbiome, which is linked with higher levels of beneficial compounds like short-chain fatty acids. The microbiomes of those with less healthy diets and less diverse and lower beneficial bacteria have more issues. The Mediterranean diet has been generally linked to a higher quality of life. I'm just going to lose this thing over here. One study found that close adherence to the Mediterranean diet was associated with higher levels of subjective happiness. High intakes of fruits and vegetables, important for any healthy diet, have been found to be positively correlated to better outcomes of mental health and enhanced well-being and happiness. What makes the Mediterranean diet so good for our health? The significant reason is one influential group of nutrients called phytonutrients. Does that sound familiar to you? There are thousands of phytonutrients divided into categories like carotenoids, flavonoids, and phytosterols that have a variety of positive health impacts and antioxidant activity. Certain carotenoids like lutein, zeaxanthin, and crocin, which are found in saffron, have shown beneficial effects in the management of stress, improving mood, and/or decreasing cortisol levels. I can tell you another group of people that follow a similar diet to the Mediterranean diet are the Japanese. And these people are known to have the longest life on average of any other nation in the world. And there are more centurions, can't think of the exact term, but there are more people who are 100 years or older in Japan than in pretty much any other area of the world. They also have a lot more relaxed, calm lifestyle and have a siesta in the afternoon, don't rush, and just a slower, healthier pace of life. Flavonoids have been found to have neuroprotective properties, in other words, protection of the nerves, and other phytonutrients have benefits ranging from immune support to cardiovascular protection to cognitive support, meaning brain. So phytonutrients are beneficial compounds produced by plants that give fruits and vegetables their bright colors and distinctive tastes, otherwise known as nature's rainbow. Make sure to incorporate a variety of colorful vegetables and fruit into your diet to reap the benefits of the entire phytonutrient spectrum. Now, this can sometimes be a challenge because the correct produce isn't always available in your area, and also depends on the season. So with today's lifestyle, you can get pretty much anything you want from any season, anywhere in the world, in a very short space of time. The trouble is, however, in order to get that produce that isn't growing locally in your area there, it's got to be force grown under artificial conditions in another part of the world, then stored carefully, usually frozen, and transported great distances before it gets to you as fresh produce, by which time a lot of the nutrient has dissipated, unfortunately. Ever heard of that gut feeling, or I feel it in my gut, or my gut told me? Those are actual real feelings. Now, the enteric nervous system is a special division of the autonomic nervous system that operates within the gastrointestinal tract to control digestive functions. Now, your autonomic means automatic, and we've got a couple of different nervous systems in the body. So things like breathing, blinking your eyes, those sort of things, those all form part of the autonomic nervous system. It happens without us thinking about it. And then there's a different nervous system that we can control. So to a certain extent, you can hold your breath. You can keep your eyes closed for some time. In fact, if you focus closely enough, you can probably even slow down or speed up your heart rate as well. Although those things are limited to what you can do, but there is that division between your autonomic and your controllable nervous system. So comprised of over 500 million neurons, the gastrointestinal is the most complex neural network outside of the brain. And we think this brain is complex. Well, your gut plays a very strong role over there too. Now, the enteric nervous system is often nicknamed our second brain because it has the unique ability to operate somewhat independently from the brain. The gut-brain axis, or otherwise known as GBA, creates a connection that allows back and forth communication between the brain and the gut. Think of a cell phone. I'm going to be phoning one of you. I pick up my phone and I dial your number, and it goes to a cell tower, which sends a message to another cell tower, send a message to another cell tower until it finds you on the other end. And then we can chat. But the messages are going backwards and forwards between cell tower and phone. And the gut-brain axis works a similar way. Even your fiber optic cable that's allowing us to send these signals backwards and forwards, there's a connection between my computer, my modem, and the central area, and then those signals are going off to all the other different computers that are operating on the same system, or your phone, same sort of thing. So it's all very, very complex. And even for me, I know about it, but it is so much higher above my level of even trying to understand it that I don't even try, because it's higher grade. The microbes that live in our gut are part of the GBA, producing neurotransmitters and other chemicals that convey messages between the gut and the brain. Now, when you look at this whole big complex system, doesn't it make you wonder how people can think that we were just thrown together randomly, we were this explosion, and suddenly this whole system comes together. And we all start off as a single cell and duplicate into this fully formed human being at birth. And we grow into this amazing little machine that we call our body. This is a random chance? I don't think so. But that's just me going off at a tangent. Now, the gut produces approximately 95% of the body's serotonin, which is a feel-good neurotransmitter that plays important roles in mood, digestion, and sleep. If your serotonin levels are low, you are probably not going to be sleeping so well. You are going to suffer from indigestion, and you are going to be stressed out of your mind. Bacterial fermentation of dietary fibers and resistant starch in the gut generates short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs, which act on the GBA, or gut-brain axis, in various ways, like helping to regulate the serotonin production that together affect emotion and cognition. Remember, nature loves balance. If there's an imbalance, nature's going to do everything in its power to get that balance back. And this is what happens if our blood pressure is low, for instance, and you're lying down and you sit up and suddenly, whoa, your head spins and you want to fall over. Similarly, you standing up, you're walking around and your blood pressure drops, you're going to drop as well. This is where your faint comes from, because your brain needs the blood, your blood pressure is low, your body says, oops, this is an emergency, we need to get blood up there. So how are we going to get it up there? Well, we're going to use gravity. We're going to get you down there to get you on the same level to get the flow going correctly. And this is what happens in the gut as well. If your mood is high, we need to get it low. If your mood is low, we need to get it balanced again. So there's this whole big balance happening. It's a big seesaw that is happening all the time without us even thinking about it. Researchers linked abnormally low levels of serotonin or short-chain fatty acids with various mood disorders. And you look at today's diet, is it any wonder that so many people are suffering from depression, anxiety, or addictions? All of those come down to your gut. So this is how the gut-brain axis works. So you, bottom of the picture over here, you've got your gut with all the neurons and the microbes and all the other bits and pieces over there, and it's talking to the brain at the top. A healthy gut microbiome is diverse and contains a large number of microbes that produce compounds beneficial for our health and few that excrete harmful byproducts like trimethylamine or trimethylamine N-oxide. Don't worry about the big fancy terms over there. It's not bad. Microbiomes are impacted by a multitude of lifestyle factors such as diet and medication. Remember, medication, while it's good, it has bad side effects. And in my opinion, all drugs have got side effects. Now, how are they going to affect you? That I can't tell you, because what works with you doesn't work with me, and vice versa. So you might have some symptoms and you have a particular medication, and those symptoms go away, but now you develop other symptoms. I might have the same thing and absolutely nothing happens. I remember when I was in Cape Town a few years ago, many years ago, I had an issue. I was bitten by a bug and I came out in this rash all over, and the doctor prescribed, I think it was an antihistamine afterwards. And it was this tiny little tablet. And he said to me, oh, just don't walk down the stairs. You must take the lift. Don't drive. And he made me quite nervous, because he was saying that, and he was a big, solid guy. And he said if he takes one or two of those, he takes the rest of the day off because he's flat. He goes lie down on the bed and he's absolutely flat. And he expected the same thing with me. And I saw him again a couple of days later. He looked at me and said, well, how are you? I said, I'm great. Whatever you gave me worked, but just tell me again, what side effects am I supposed to be looking for? And he looked at me as if I was crazy and said, did you actually take it? I said, I took it exactly as the bottle said, as you instructed. And he said, and you didn't have any problems? I said, nope, not at all. He said, well, good grief, I don't understand it. And then he told me what his reaction was. So everybody responds differently. And it comes down to your microbiome. Different microbe species digest different substances, and our diets help determine which species flourish. So we can all eat the same thing, but because of a whole lot of other different factors, genetics being one of them, we're not all going to work the same way. So like myself, I have certain dietary restrictions. There's certain things I can't eat, and other people thrive on it, and vice versa. So we are all different and unique, and obviously our gut is different and unique as well. So what's a winning recipe that we can use? Diet plays a key role in cultivating and maintaining a diverse gut microbiome populated with beneficial bacteria. Mediterranean diet, mentioned earlier for its many phytonutrient benefits, is associated with a diverse and healthy gut microbiome pattern. In comparison, less healthy diets, high in processed foods, saturated fat, and sodium with low fruit and vegetable intake are linked to microbiomes that are less diverse and balanced, with fewer beneficial bacteria. Fruits and vegetables are rich in dietary fiber, a type of carbohydrate, complex carbohydrate, that cannot be digested by human enzymes. Certain strains of gut bacteria ferment certain dietary fiber types into beneficial short-chain fatty acids. And dietary fiber promotes digestive regularity, helps lower blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and may play a role in increasing feelings of satiety or fullness. An unhealthy diet, low in fiber and high in refined sugars and saturated fats, junk food, can contribute to a compromised, weak digestive functioning, which is linked with unhealthy gut microbiome composition. By adopting a healthy dietary habit is the best way to strengthen your gut microbiome health in the long term. Another way to modify the gut microbiome is with probiotics, or live microorganisms intended to have a positive effect on the population of good bacteria and the beneficial compounds they produce. Probiotics are naturally present in certain fermented food and drinks like yogurt, kefir, kombucha, sauerkraut, and miso. Probiotic supplements can deliver highly concentrated amounts of select microorganisms chosen for their effects. A review of 45 studies found that in healthy adults, supplementing with certain live probiotics can have a positive impact on the gut concentration of those beneficial organisms. Evidence also supported the role of probiotic supplements in improving immune system responses and gastrointestinal health. And that is where I'm going to stop for now. We have about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions or comments before I pause the recording?